we find ourselves at the end of Sefer Bamidbar. There's a double parsha. It's Parshat Matot Masei, and in Israel it's just Masei, but finally we're able to reunite with our brothers in Israel, so that's wonderful. And this is based on Rav Bernstein's shiur from 2012. And on chapter 31, this takes place in Parshat Matot. It goes like this. So V'yedaber Hashem el Moshe lemor, God says to Moshe, Nekom nikmat bnei Yisrael meta midyanim. Right? So wage this war of vengeance against the Midianites. We need to ask ourselves, well, that seems interesting, because that seems to be a new category of a type of war that we can wage. That is to say, we have a milchem and reshut, a milchem and mitzvah, a milchem and chova, right, a war that's permissible to wage, one that's a mitzvah to wage, one that's required, we're obligated to wage. But here we have a milchem and akama. Okay, so that's interesting. And who's to go with them? So says Moshe, or in verse 4, 1,000 for each tribe. Okay, is there anyone else? Yeah. So Moses sent them 1,000 for each tribe for the legion, them and Pinchas, the son of Elazar the Kohen, to the legion. Okay, so we see that there are 12,000 people, right? 1,000 per tribe, plus Pinchas. Now, we need to figure out, well, what's Pinchas' role here? Because the Torah is going at length to make sure that we know exactly who is going. So, what's his role here? Well, interestingly, Rashi has a comment about the fact that Pinchas is going. He says, Pinchas was equal to all of them, as in all the other 12,000. Okay, well, anything else? And why did Pinchas go and not Elazar? And that's very interesting, because Rashi here is picking up on something. He's asking, well, hang on, why did Pinchas go with them? And well, if we're going to ask, well, hang on, Rashi, do you have anyone else in mind? Rashi says, yeah, I do, in fact. Why not Elazar? Elazar, Pinchas' father, because Elazar is the Kohen Gadol. Elazar has seniority over Pinchas. Elazar is holding at a higher level than Pinchas, so we would have thought that Elazar should go. Now, what's interesting about this is, why is Rashi even getting involved here? I mean, this is very interesting to see why Pinchas and not Elazar, but Rashi, we've spoken about this multiple times, Rashi doesn't just note things that are interesting in the pasuk. He always comes to revolve issues in the pshat of the pasuk, as in something that's a textual difficulty that we will not understand, that seems to be unusual. So what's so unusual here that prompts Rashi's comments? So first of all, this is actually very interesting. Though it refers to Pinchas, it says, that Pinchas ben Elazar HaKohen. Now, at this point, we obviously know who Pinchas is. We had a whole parsha after him. He obviously did something very controversial and noteworthy, right, in killing Zimri and Cosby. So we know who Pinchas is. So it could have said Pinchas HaKohen, or it could have referred to him as the Torah has previously referred to him, by saying Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. That's how he's referred to at the end of Balak. That's how he's referred to at the beginning of Parshat Pinchas last week. But here we don't have that. We have Otam ben Pinchas ben Elazar HaKohen. So I need to ask, well, hang on. Is there anything else? Anything else you want to tell us? And the answer to that seems to be no. Pinchas ben Elazar HaKohen. So that's what Rashi picks up on. He's like, why is it only giving half of his credentials? Because if you're going to say Pinchas HaKohen, fine. If you're going to give more of his lineage and say Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. But it doesn't do that. And therefore we see that the fact that Elazar is mentioned and not Aaron is unusual, and we see that Pinchas is supposed to go and not Aaron. Now our question to that might be, well, why? Why would Pinchas go and not Elazar? What makes Pinchas the more appropriate figure to accompany them as a spiritual presence in this war? So this answer, quotes Rav Bernstein, is from the Sefer Binyan David, and he gives a very interesting and straightforward pirush. And here's what he has to say. Now we mentioned that this war is not quite like other wars, right? This is Milchem Kama, right? It's a war where we're extracting vengeance, and it's specifically over the spiritual damage that was brought against the Jewish people by the daughters of Moab / Midian. Now, if that's true, then there's one aspect of war that we see later on in the Torah that we would want to exclude from this war. Now, which one is that? That's called the Eshet Yafet Torah. That is to say, in Parshat Kitetze, right? Kitetze in the Milchama, if you go to war, and there are soldiers there who might find one of the enemy, one of the women among the enemy to be particularly attractive, or someone he really likes. So is it permissible for him to marry such a girl? And the Torah says, in certain circumstances, as long as you fulfill certain requirements, then yes, that's fine. But now we're waging a Milchem Nakama. And if you ask, well, hang on, what about this war? Can we take the Eshet Yafator? If a man sees a girl among the Midianites who he likes, can he take her? The instead, of course, is no. Of course he can't do this. This doesn't apply here because the whole reason why we're going to war against the Midianites was because of the problem of the Midianite women in the first place. And therefore, when it comes to this kind of issue, there is no Eshet Yafator. That is completely forbidden. We're not allowed, the Jewish people are not allowed to take one of the Midianite women as a wife, even through this permissible way of going through it, called the Eshet Yafator. Now, in order to ensure that people stay in line, right, and don't start shifting their minds to other things and not getting distracted from the war, there is one person who is the ideal reminder that such a relationship is completely inappropriate, and that is Pinchas. Because you have to think, anyone who even begins to think about maybe, this Midianite girl looks appealing, and maybe I'm interested in consorting with her, needs to think about who is right behind it. That's Pinchas. And you also need to think the kinds of reactions that Pinchas has to a relationship like this. And with that in mind, people are going to stay on the straight and narrow and not veer from the mission at hand. That is to say, the Milchemet Akam against Midian. We'll end it there. A nice quick idea. Shabbat Shalom.